to another episode of the Deals for Dentists podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit unique due to the demand of topics related to marketing. I wanted to bring in my expert marketing friend here, Nareen Arul Raja, who's the CEO and founder of Equa Marketing. Nareen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eric. I'm really excited to be here today.
Yeah, I really wanted to just pick your brain. Marketing is such a hot topic, and as well as PPO adjustments. And I wanted to focus in on how personally, Equa, I'm a client of Equa's, and your team has really helped me to realize that PPO adjustments and being involved with PPO insurance companies as an in-network provider is really just an expensive form of marketing. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I love today's topic. Are you looking at your PPO adjustments as a marketing expense? Are you looking at your PPO adjustments as a marketing expense? Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, right? Why do doctors sign up with PPOs? There's one reason and one reason alone. That is to get new patients. Now, the interesting thing about that PPO relationship is once you sign up, you have to give away a certain amount of fees for that particular service you provide in the form of an adjustment. So let's say you're doing some crowns and let's say it's costing $1,000, let's say that's your retail price. You might only be reimbursed $500 or $550. So every time you do a crown from that PPO plan, you are giving away $450. Of course, this adjustment applies to not just crowns, but to every single service you provide. So absolutely, it's a marketing expense. And the other thing that the PPO companies force you to do is they control the fees you can charge. So for example, if your real fee for, a fee for service client is $1,200, if you are in that PPO plan, they will dictate how much you can charge that patient, whether they are going to reimburse you or not. And if they say we're only going to pay you $950, you know what? You're going to get paid $950. So you're getting hit on both sides. You're getting hit because you can't charge what your actual retail price is. And you're also getting hit because they won't pay the full retail price that they even agreed to. They'll do an adjustment and they'll only pay a portion of it.
Yeah, and you said to get new patients, and that's really the reason why we do marketing as dentists, to get new patients. And you can do it in the form of, SEO and Google and Facebook and direct mail, coupons, and maybe offer a discount to get a new patient in the door. But that discount ends, after whatever treatment they're getting, whether it's the cleaning or a bleaching special. But with PPO, that discount does not end. It keeps on going for the life of that patient. And I like to compare it to a patient walking in the door, and they have a big shirt that says, I get 45% off of your fees. That's like a PPO patient walking in the door. Sure, you're getting a volume of patients, but it's at a remarkable discount.
Absolutely. And I think especially when the inflation is going up, right? I mean, let's look at the last 2 years. You walk into a restaurant, you're paying 20-30% more than what you used to pay 2 years ago. Now, the reason is the shop owner or the restaurant owner can pass that inflation, meaning he's paying higher wages, he's paying higher, produce prices, she's paying, more for her meat, So all that can be passed on. Now, in the case of a dentist, you are getting hit with the same inflation. Your costs have gone up. You have to pay your employees more today than you did 2 years ago. You have to pay more, more for your everything you purchase, but you can't increase your fees because you are on a PPO plan. So it's getting really, really hard. I mean, we think, it's a discount, but like your fees are capped due to inflation, your expenses are going up. So that 45% adjustment plus all this inflationary pressure means you have less and less profit in those patients. And in many cases, dentists say, I am better off not taking care of that patient. Like for example, in many states, what the insurance company pays for hygiene services doesn't even reimburse the hygienist, meaning you are losing money on every hygiene patient you see.
Yeah, and right now, personally, in my office, we are going through the process of reducing insurance. We had two left. We had Blue Cross and Delta, and we're going through the process of going out of network with Blue Cross. And for us, it was just the right time in my office. We had we were having a capacity issue. Our office is busy, and a lot of these patients we couldn't accommodate them due to the volume of patients. So for us, it was really just the perfect time to start to reduce insurance, and now we can focus more on getting patients in that either are fee for service, they're out of network, or we can start to market our membership plan.
Absolutely. So I think the big question is, okay, what's your write-off, Eric? For either both your PPO plans or just one? Like, what is it like typically on average across all the
I would
different
say
services?
they're both around 45%.
Right. So what you're saying is instead of spending 45% to get a new patient for the life of that patient every time you see them to the insurance company in the form of a discount, you would rather spend less, perhaps with Google or one of the other methods to get a new patient.
Yeah, that's right. And we'd really like to uh, promote our in-house membership plan, which gives the patient a discount, but is not really considered insurance. But it's a great thing to be able to market to get patients that don't have insurance.
100%. I mean, in the old days, before the internet, before Google, people did not know how to find out about dentists. So they would call the PPO provider, or they would go to that website to find who the dentist they can go see. Nowadays, they start with what they're looking for. Let's say they want implants. They're going to start Googling implants. Let's say they have crooked teeth and they need Invisalign or some type of braces. They'll start Googling Invisalign and they'll start looking at reviews. So today's patient starts with Google when it comes to discovering the right dentist for him or her. So when they start with Google, I think one of the things you can do is, without paying any money, that's where organic marketing comes in, you can really be on the top of Google for hundreds of search phrases. So I mean, my experience with organic marketing, Eric, is you can spend less than 2% of what you make and dominate Google organically for hundreds of search terms. So it's a really, really, it's like 20x difference, 45% versus 2%. It's a 22%, 2200% difference, 22x difference. So it's a massive, massive difference in cost to acquire the same patient through Google versus organically versus through the PPO plan.
Now, Equa has been a big help with me and my office creating a strategy. Can you tell us, how does someone get started in this whole process? Do you create a plan for them?
Yeah. So before I get into that, maybe I can talk about what is marketing and maybe introduce you to that, and maybe talk about how we do it, and then we'll talk about how we help someone get started.
So you mentioned organic marketing. Can you actually explain what organic marketing is?
Absolutely. So I'll define marketing for a dental practice, and I've used this for the last 15 years and it has worked for us. What it is, there's two steps. First step is helping your ideal patients find you, meaning they need to know that you can help them. So I'm looking for implants, I'm looking for veneers, I'm looking for Invisalign. You should show up when I'm looking for those things. So that's step number one. And today people use Google 8.7 billion times a day. So the average person in the US is using Google many, many, many times every single day. And that's true for dentistry. Studies show that 92% of patients today, when they are interested in, I'm sure many of you have heard this stat, 1.6 million Americans are looking for a new dentist every month. So those 1.6 million Americans looking for a new dentist, 92% of them start with Google. So when they start with Google and they start learning about or looking for someone who can help them with their problem, could be toothache, could be implants, could be whatever it is, you want to show up. So that's step one. You want to show up on Google hundreds of times. on the first page of the Google results, meaning the top 10 results, ideally the top 3 results. So you want to show up in the top of Google organically, meaning without having to pay money for ads, hundreds of times for anything they're looking for related to what you do. So all the high value services, you want to show up. And each high value services, there might be 20 keywords. So you want to show up for all of them. And the second part of this is, okay, fine, you're showing up, but why should they come to you versus the other 10 people they also see on Google? That's where Dr. Robert Cialdini's influence principles come in. He's a genius when it comes to conversions, meaning he's a genius when it comes to getting people to say yes. So they see you again and again for various keywords. And once they see you again and again for various keywords, and they're seeing you and let's say 3 other dentists, why should they choose you? One thing you can work on is reviews. That's one of Cialdini's principles. It talks about social proof. What he means is if you have high quality reviews, a ton of them, people will trust you and therefore they are more likely to choose you versus someone who does not have many high quality reviews like you do. So that's one of those Cialdini principles. There are 6 of them. And what he's saying is these 6 principles, if applied correctly, just like the reviews, will create a moment. In that moment, people are 3 times more likely to pick you. And so what we do is on step 1, help you rank on Google hundreds of times. And I'll tell you how we do it. And the second part is, okay, fine, you're ranking on Google hundreds of times. Now, how do we influence them? By applying Cialdini's principles so they're more likely to pick up the phone and call you versus one of the other people they see on Google.
And is that ultimately, once they do find you, that they're going to look at your reviews, they're going to look at your social media, and they're going to look at your website?
Absolutely. So let me just outline the 6 principles. First one is social proof. That's reviews, right? You want to have more and more 5-star reviews and ideally paragraph reviews, which we call love letter reviews. Second one is called authority. So if people think you are an expert or you are an authority, they are more likely to choose you, just like they're more likely to choose you because of reviews. So how do you do that? One of the things we did with you, Eric, is have you answer simple questions. We posted on Video 360, which is the third-party platform we manage on YouTube. And now we link those reviews, those videos from your website. So when people see those videos where you as the expert is explaining something, they're more likely to choose you and or your practice. The third one is third one is liking. We do business with people we like. And so let's say you have 2 kids, and having a picture of you with your 2 kids and then showcasing that means other people who are parents, like moms specifically, when they see that you are a parent, they are much more likely to choose you. So that's kind of how we do it. So liking, social proof, authority. Similarly, there are 3 other principles. One is called reciprocity, and reciprocity I won't explain right now, but the idea is I'm nice to you, you are nice to me. I do something for you, you do something for me. Like the idea of when someone does a favor to us, we want to repay it. Consistency, another principle. Like when people book an appointment and they confirm a time, they want to show up for that meeting because they made a promise to you that they're going to come and do something at a certain time. So they want to be consistent with their promises. Scarcity is something I'm not a big fan of in healthcare, but the idea that people want what they can't have. Like for example, Apple makes sure that every time they launch a new iPhone, they don't make enough phones. So there's always the scarcity. So people are like scrambling to get them, which creates the desire to want it even more. The more you can't have something, the more you want it. So those are the 6 principles, and you can apply it so that people are more likely to choose you, 3 times more likely to choose you.
Such a strategy behind marketing, and I think it's so important for a dentist to not try to do this on their own, because we weren't trained in marketing. We're trained in dentistry, so to have a professional company that can help you do all these things is so important.
Absolutely. And we have 14 teams, and we put 200 hours up front and 30 hours a month after month, to help you rank for hundreds of keywords. We pay attention to the 7, 8 things that Google really, really cares about and helps you be in the top of those things. Because when you're on the top, then you're going to rank for hundreds of keywords on page 1 of Google. And then, of course, second part is applying these Cialdini principles on the internet, on your website. So people are more likely to choose you and pick up the phone and call you. So it's a combination of the two. And we take a systematic approach. We have 200 people total. And, so we just do it day in and day out, and we do it better and better. And then we track everything. We track the keywords, how many keywords, what's your position for each keyword, how many phone calls, everything. So this way we know whether what we are doing is working or not. And then we look at our data from last month, and then we use it to improve what our results this month. So we work on specific things, and that's where the 14 teams come in. And then when you do that, the metric I'm the most proud of is 95% of our clients stay with us. But I guess the takeaway today is, do you want to spend 45% or do you want to spend 2% or less? That's really what you need to think about. Like, the idea of being penny wise and pound foolish, this is one of those things. One is 22 times more expensive than the other one. So why do you want to spend 22 times more money when you don't have to? Because all that is profits that's being wasted. Because when you spend that much, where is it coming from? Profits. You can't pay your people less because you're on a PPO. The supply companies are not going to give you half price supplies because you're on a PPO. You're paying full price for everything. The rent is not going to be cheaper because you're on a PPO. So nobody cares. That you are getting a 45% discount or fee cut from PPO. So I think it's a smart move to, like you are doing, Eric, drop plans one by one, and save that 45% and put it on your bottom line.
Yeah, and we just focus our marketing on getting non in-network patients, and focus on more high value patients. We're really trying to focus on implants and clear aligners and membership plan, and these are patients that we want to have for the rest of their lives, and these are going to be patients that are paying our fees, not the adjusted fee that the insurance company sets.
Absolutely. And 2 points I want to add. More than half of Americans are not on PPO plans. That is, the majority of Americans are not on PPO plans. So right now they are not being served at all because people are so scrambling on this PPO machine. They are not taking care of the people who are willing to pay full fees. So that's number one. Number two, even the ones on PPO plan, because they didn't pay for it, right? Human has this nasty habit. When we don't pay for something, we don't appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So they don't even care whether you are on a PPO plan. Their question is, do you take my insurance? I have XYZ, do you take my insurance? As a non-PPO provider, you can take their insurance. You can file the claims. You can tell them, I have an insurance coordinator whose job it is to help you get every penny from the insurance company. So you still go after the 50% people on PPO, and you go after the ones who are not on PPO. And like you said, the money is in those high value services. So, you're not going to be very successful doing, $200 procedures. You're going to be successful doing a $5,000 Invisalign or, $10,000 implants or, some veneer cases. So getting more of those patients who are willing to write those big checks, that's where you're going to make more money per hour of your effort as a dentist. So it's a win-win on so many levels, so you're not giving up anything because you still can take care of the PPO patients by helping file the insurance claims and helping, collect every penny from the insurance company. But at the same time, you can grow your high-value services and you can take care of the 50% of Americans who are not on PPO plans. So it's like win-win on all three levels.
Yeah, and you actually mentioned that you can still see these patients that have these plans, and I think that was one of the biggest difficult conversations that we are training our staff with, is the patients that are in network that we are going to be going out of network with. Some of them may think that they can't come to our office, and that's not true. We tell them, you can still come here. We will still process your claims. All of that is not going to change. We will absolutely still see you as a patient here. And, we try to focus on the relationships with these patients, not the ones that only come to you because of the insurance, but focus on the ones that like you and they know you and they trust you and they want to stay in your office. They don't want to go anywhere else.
Exactly. Healthcare is a very personal service. I mean, it's a lot of trust there. And they don't want to go anywhere else because they trust you. You have taken care of them like you take care of your own family. So why go and reinvent this whole relationship from ground zero when they don't have to? But I think, like you said, the key is communication so you can educate them, because if you don't and you just let it happen by chance, and they might assume you can't help them. They might assume you can't see them. So you have to talk to them. You have to communicate with them. Absolutely, Eric.
Now, how does someone go about getting started with all this? They could definitely, you know, dentists are going to need help. This may seem overwhelming to them at first. How do they get started?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, the metric I'm the most proud of is 95% of the dentists we work with stay with us year after year. And it starts with what we call a marketing strategy meeting. So it's a meeting that's a 90-minute meeting. You did this, Eric, so I'm sure you remember it, where our team will spend 6 hours preparing for the meeting. They will look at where you stand when it comes to the two things I just talked about. How many keywords are you ranking on Google for, which is helping people find you? And all the things that's impacting that. So for example, NAP, name, address, phone number, consistency. Are you doing well on NAP? Yes or no? If not, how good or how bad? Another thing that will impact ranking is, the use of compliance with Google Lighthouse score. So what's your Lighthouse score page by page? The higher your Lighthouse score, the more keywords you're going to rank for near the top of Google. So they look at 7, 8 different things, and they'll tell you where you stand. So just by attending the meeting, your report card when it comes to SEO. And then they will give you a plan on, okay, this is where you are today. This is where we think we should get you to by the end of 12 months. So you have a very clear plan on what's going to happen. Just like with SEO, where you stand and where you get to, we'll also give you a plan in terms of Cialdini principles. Are you applying it properly? Where are you today versus where you need to get to? So that's a $900 value, the marketing strategy meeting. Listening to this podcast, you will not pay a dime. It will be our gift to you. So it's equa.com/MSM. And at the end of the meeting, you will have a plan. You will know where you stand. You will know all the things you need to improve. You have a choice to make. At that point, if you feel like we are a good fit, if you buy into our way of thinking about marketing and our way of approaching marketing, then we start working together. Our fee structure is pretty straightforward. It's $1,200 a month. And in the first 2 months, we put 200 hours worth of work. The reason is we have to put a lot of extra work to lay the foundation so that on top of that foundation, we can do all the things that Google wants us to do on a monthly basis. So that's original content, custom design website, design that fits your style. But at the same time, that Google loves, because no point having a wonderful website that Google hates, because then you're not going to rank. So that's what happens in the first 2 months. And then every month, these 14 teams will work on different parts of your SEO and different parts of the Cialdini influence piece. So every month we make progress. When we do that, we notice the number of phone calls continue to grow, number of keywords you rank continue to grow. And the idea is that a client with us 6 months is doing better than a client with us 3 months. A client with us 1 year is doing better than a client with us 6 months. So some of our clients have been with us for 15 years, 11 years. So they are doing a lot better because we are building on what we did last year. So it just keeps growing. So they go from being at the bottom 10% of Google to the top 10%, and then even top 5%. And some of our clients are in the top 1%. Now, this is an interesting stat. You may or may not know, 95% of the web pages on the internet get zero traffic from Google. Actually, 90% get zero traffic. And 5% get 95% of the traffic. So we focus on helping our clients and their web pages get into the top 5%, so they get 95% of the free organic traffic. And because 90% of the people get no traffic, they're the ones giving Google $250 billion in ad money every year. So it's a great business for Google because so many people can't master this. So we just focus on mastering it, and we focus in dentistry. So we got really good at not only ranking on Google, but making the phone ring.
And ultimately, this is organic marketing, and it's a lot more affordable and makes so much more sense than the PPO adjustments.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a lot more fun, and yeah, it's. I mean, numbers speak for themselves, right? When you're spending 22 times more, it's not a tough decision to spend 22 times less. You know what I mean? Or 120 to 122. So it's a really good low risk way to really strengthen your practice.
All right, Nareen Arul Raja, the CEO of Equa Marketing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. And once again, that link is equa.com/MSM. Thank you, Eric, for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you. As always, I hope everyone finds this episode interesting and valuable. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the Deals for Dentists podcast on your favorite podcast platform and our weekly newsletter so you don't miss any of our upcoming shows. And if you're a dental company and interested in becoming a partner and want us to help you reach over 30,000 dentists nationwide, please email info@dealsfordentists.com.